Hello everyone and welcome to my channel DIY Homemade Crafts. My name is Jazz and I'm so happy and excited to have you here today. Don't freak out, I'm not going to start decorating for fall just yet, but I'm going to start my projects and my crafts to be able to decorate my home on a budget. And for today's video, I want to share with you how you can transform a foam pumpkin from Dollar Tree or Walmart to make it look so much better with a high-end look using so many fun techniques. And if your Dollar Tree doesn't have the foam pumpkins, you can get them online. You can get small quantities. You can get 4 of these and they can ship them to your home or your closest Dollar Tree. And just in case, I'm going to leave you the link of Dollar Tree in the description box of this video. And I hope that you are ready for these pumpkin DIYs. I love how they turn out. Let's DIY together, my friend. I'm going to be using these foam pumpkins from Dollar Tree, and I decided to change the color first. I'm going to be using my chalk paint in hazelnut color, and I'm going to paint my whole pumpkin, and I'm going to give it 2 really good coats of paint, and I'm going to let it dry. Once it is dry, this is how it's going to look. The paint doesn't look perfect, I know, but it's okay. We're going to cover that because I'm going to be using this non-slip rock underlay from Dollar Tree. I love these. I love like the pattern it has and everything. I'm going to cut a square piece and then I'm going to add my pumpkin on top. And before sticking anything, I'm going to cut a hole into my pumpkin on the top of the pumpkin. And this is going to help me to put all of these like non-slip rock inside of the pumpkin. Is going to make the process so much easier, and also it's going to basically cover the entire hole, so don't worry about that. Once I cover my whole pumpkin, this is how it looks and I love it. Now it's time to add the stem, and for the stem I'm going to be using this top part of this pumpkin. I'm going to cut that and then I'm going to cover it with some jute to give it like a nice touch and texture to my pumpkin, and also it's going to match really good. I'm going to be sticking that with hot glue on the top of my pumpkin, and then I'm going to create a really cool tip that I just always do. I'm going to be adding a small piece of jute on the tip of my glue gun, and I'm going to turn that, let it sit for a couple seconds. Careful not to burn my fingers, and once I remove that, I have this really nice cool jute cord that I'm going to add on the top of my pumpkin close to the stem. And once I was done, this is how my project turned out. It was so simple to make. I love the texture, and this doesn't look like a $1 pumpkin from Dollar Tree. It looks really high-end and I love it. This big foam pumpkin from Dollar Tree, and the first thing I'm going to be doing is to make 2 holes in the top and the bottom of the pumpkin with a knife. And I decided to make the holes because I think that it's going to be easier to cover this pumpkin as I want, and it's going to look better at the end. Before styling my pumpkin, I'm going to give it 2 coats of paint with my Robinhood chalk paint in plaster color, and then let it dry very well. And I choose this paint color because it is the closest to the clothesline rope that I'm going to be using. As I said, I'm going to use a clothesline rope for styling my pumpkin, and I bought this one at Walmart for a very good price. And you can use these, or maybe you can use the white nautical rope from Dollar Tree if you find it. And the first thing I'm going to be doing is to cut 3 pieces of rope, and I'm going to add hot glue on one side so that the all pieces are glued together, and you can start making a braid with the rope. I'm going to be making braids that have 3 pieces of rope like this one, but I'm also going to be making braids that have 6 pieces of rope, and it will look super cool. You just have to glue one side of all the pieces of rope together with hot glue, and then just start braiding, and then at the end you must put a little bit of hot glue again to make sure that it does not come off.
I'm going to be doing these two types of braids several times to be able to cover my pumpkin, and you can make like 12 braids of each style, just to make sure that you have enough to cover your pumpkin. From there, you just have to stick the braids from side to side of the pumpkin, and you can insert the sides of the braid inside of the holes of the pumpkin, so that way it's going to be stronger and more secure, and the shape of the pumpkin is going to look better. I'm going to be applying the braids, creating a pattern. I'm going to stick the thin braid, and then I'm going to stick the double braid, then a thin braid, and then a double braid, and so until the entire pumpkin is covered. Once you finish, this is how your pumpkin will look like, and of course you can add a stem, and I decided to put this one. It is from Dollar Tree, and once I stick that with hot glue, I decide to put two metal leaves from other pumpkins that I just have from Dollar Tree, and I paint them with a copper color. And that will be all, guys. Once you finish, this will be the result of the first project, and I just love how it looks. I love the color of the robe, and I love the pattern of the braids.
For this project, I'm going to start by removing the stem of my pumpkin, and then I'm going to be using a knife to cut my pumpkin in half. Once I have that part ready, I want to cut a small semicircle on the top of my pumpkin, and then I'm going to change the color of the pumpkin. I decide to go with this acrylic paint. I decide with this like khaki color, and I paint the whole pumpkin, and then I let it dry. Now I paint the pumpkin this color because it's the closest color that I have on hand that match with the burlap fabric that I have, because I want to cover my pumpkin with the burlap fabric. I use some hot glue, I stick the edges, and once I have that part ready, if you want to add like a nice detail on the pumpkin and make it look more realistic, you can put some pieces of ribbon on the ribs of the pumpkin, and then stick everything on the back of the pumpkin with hot glue. And if you don't want to get burned, maybe you can use a piece of popsicle stick or something like that, because the hot glue is going to be very close to your fingers, so just be careful. Now you can put maybe some stems or florals on the top of this pumpkin on that small semicircle that you cut. I decide to put some greenery, and to make sure that it stays all together, I just stick everything with tape. Now that I have that part ready, I'm going to be using this cute basket that you can get at Dollar Tree. I love the look that it has, but not the color. So I'm going to use some spray paint in black color, paint everything, let it dry, and then I'm going to stick my pumpkin on my basket. To add an extra detail, I decide to hang this harvest sign on the top of my project, and then you can hang this on your walls and it's going to look beautiful. You can also use the pumpkin as it is, or maybe stick these in a sign or a frame or something like that instead of the basket. But I love the look of this, and it turned out really inexpensive. Okay, for this next project, I'm going to be using this foam pumpkin that I get like 3 years ago from Walmart, and as you can see, it's pretty damaged. I cannot use paint because you're going to still see all of like the damage of the pumpkin. I want to cover that, and for that I decide to use corn husk. You can get these from Walmart, any grocery store, or you can get this on Amazon, and I'm going to leave you a link of where you can get it. Now I'm going to be using these corn husks to stick on my pumpkin, pumpkin, and it depends on the size of your pumpkin, but you can maybe cut these on half to make it a little bit more easy to stick on your pumpkin. It depends, like I said, on how big your pumpkin is. But I really love this technique. I have never tried to DIY anything with the corn husks, and I really like it. I have many more ideas that I want to try, so stay tuned. Once I cover my whole pumpkin with the corn husk, you can add the stem. You can add hot glue and stick it, and that's it. This is how the pumpkin turned out. I think it's very unique and different, and it's perfect now for fall. I hope that you like this idea too, because I love how it turned out, and it is so easy to make. And you can use the corn husk to make some tamales too. I'm going to be using some caulk that you can also get at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be adding these all over my pumpkin. Then you can use a spatula or a spoon to spread all of your caulk on your pumpkin, and you can play with these a little bit and try to create different types of textures or patterns. You need to let your pumpkin dry overnight, and once it is dry, this is how it's going to look. Now you can paint these any color. I decided to use some wax in antique color because this is going to give it a really nice look. It's going to have like a wooden look, and I really love that. So I'm going to be adding this wax all over my pumpkin. The wax is still wet, so because it's wet, I'm going to be adding some plaster color, some chalk paint in this color, just to give it like a lighter tone. You can make these, then let it dry. Maybe you can add some darker colors, maybe like black. You can play with your colors to create shadows and dimensions, but yeah, this is how mine turned out. And on the top of the pumpkin, you can add some moss and also a small stem, and you can stick all of that with hot glue. I decided to add my pumpkin to a stand, and for that I'm going to be using this margarita cup that you can get at Dollar Tree, and I really love the shape of these. You can get this one or the glass one in the kitchen section, and I'm going to be using this one, but I'm going to change the color. Of course, I'm going to be using some black MAC spray paint, and I'm going to spray paint this outside, let it dry, and this is how it looks. Now it's time to add some weight on these to make sure that it's stable, so I'm going to be using some stones for that. You can add your pumpkin on top, and then you can add greenery all over your pumpkin. This is going to add a really nice touch. You can use this greenery that is super neutral, or you can add weeds or any other greenery that you have at home, and you can add some like white touches like this foxtail just to bring more color to our project. Once I was done, this is how this beautiful piece looks like. I love the shade, the colors, how my pumpkin turned out, and how it looks on top of these margarita cup that is now my vase. Let me know in the comments if you have tried the caulking technique on any of your pumpkins this year, and give this project a thumbs up if you like it.
To be using one of these foam pumpkins that you can get at Dollar Tree, and I want to make a raffia pumpkin. So the first step will be to paint the pumpkin in a color that looks similar to the raffia. Once it is dry, I will be using these natural raffia from Dollar Tree, and I think I used about 1.5 packages to cover all my pumpkin. And the first thing I will be doing is to be separating raffia by bunches that are about 10 inches long and tie a knot on one side. After you have the knot, you can start braiding the raffia and sticking hot glue on the end so they don't come loose. Once you have several raffia braids, you can start sticking them in the pumpkin from side to side with hot glue until you completely cover the pumpkin, and just be very careful not to burn your fingers. From there, you just have to heat a leaf that you have. This one is a metal leaf that I have from another pumpkin, and I just stick it on the top, and I also stick a small stem in the center, and that will be it. And now you have a raffia pumpkin that looks amazing. It has a really good size, and you can do it with like $2 or $3 using things from Dollar Tree.
For this project, I'm gonna try to fix this pumpkin. I get it last year and it's made out of foam, and as you can see on the movie, maybe, I don't know, it gets some areas really damaged, and I can't use this pumpkin like this year. So I'm gonna try to fix that. First, I'm going to remove the stem that it has on top, and I'm gonna be using some fabric. I have this kind of like cotton runner that I just got, I think, from like Target on clearance. I don't remember, but you can use any type of fabric, any color that you have, maybe an old t-shirt or something like that. And what I'm going to be doing is to add glue on top and on the bottom part of the pumpkin. And just for like extra reinforcement, I'm going to be using these drawing pins, and these are going to help me to keep the fabric where I want to. Then I'm going to be removing all of those drawing pins, but they're going to help me a lot because this pumpkin is made out of foam, so yeah, it works perfect. And basically what I'm trying is to cover the whole pumpkin with the fabric. What I'm using is a runner, so I'm just going to be cutting some pieces and cover the pumpkin by parts, and I think it's so much easier that way. This is a really beautiful color and a very neutral pumpkin. I know I can use it in other years too, so I'm really happy that I have this fabric at home. But remember, you can get fabric in so many places like Walmart, Target, Hobby Lobby, Michaels, or maybe you can try to reuse anything old that you have, maybe an old sweater, a t-shirt, a blanket with a nice pattern, and you can do different ones with different patterns and colors and textures. Once that was done, this is how my fabric pumpkin now looks like, and of course you can remove all of those drawing pins that you use to help you keep the fabric where you want it to be. Next, I'm going to be making sure that I have a hole on the top of the pumpkin to be able to add some glue and add the stem on top. Once I was done, this is how my first pumpkin turned out. Now I'm going to be working with this other pumpkin that I also have. Is made out of foam, and these ones, guys, are from Walmart from last year. And again, it gets some damage, maybe because they have been in a box for 1 year. I don't know. But anyways, I'm gonna try to fix this pumpkin too. I'm going to remove the stem, and this time I'm going to be using some ribbon. I got this beautiful ribbon from Dollar Tree. It's kind of like a burlap ribbon, and it comes in different colors, and I really like this one. Is one of the colors that I'm going to be using this year. So what I'm going to be doing is to start cutting a few pieces in the same size, and then I'm going to start gluing them. Again, you can use drawing pins to help you keep the ribbon on place, and once the hot glue dries, you can remove them. I'm gonna cover the whole pumpkin with this ribbon, and it's super easy, guys. You can use maybe another ribbon without the wire on the edges, but actually it's not like a big problem. I cover the whole pumpkin, and it looks amazing, and you can do these with any pumpkin that you have at home. Once I was done, I'm going to remove those drawing pins, and then I'm going to place the stem on the top of the pumpkin. And because I did like a small mess with the hot glue, I'm going to try to cover that with a metal leaf from another pumpkin that I have from Dollar Tree, I think. Once I was done, this is how my pumpkins looks like. They are so beautiful. You can cover them with any ribbon or any fabric that you have. These are old pumpkins that now looks amazing with a completely different look and texture, and I just love them. Okay, my loves, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. These are 8 ideas that you have to try if you have foam pumpkins at home. You can get them from Dollar Tree, you can get them from Walmart, and create your own designs, your own pumpkins to have now for fall. Thank you so much for all of the love and support, and if you like this video, give me that big thumbs up. It really helps to support my channel. Let me know in the comments which of these 8 foam pumpkins is one of your favorites, and make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Remember to follow me on all my social media pages. I'm going to leave you all of the links in the description box of this video and every single one, and see you in the next video. Mwah. Bye, guys.